LegalZones.com.
You can't handle the truth.
Entirely legitimate topic for debate.
You have offended my family.
Hey, this is great, man.
And you have offended a Shaolin temple.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
I know nothing.
I support a change in law to end federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
We don't need no stinking budget.
Homosexuality, no. Immorality, general.
How in the century you have slurred the meaning of the words we, the people.
Be warned, this is not your mother's marijuana.
You could ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Radical Rant. All right, welcome back, everyone. 53 and a half after the hour. And as more and more states legalize, it becomes tougher and tougher for poor little Kevin Sabet, the quarterback of the anti-legalization movement, to have a rallying cry for his followers to get behind. And of course, marijuana legalization passed in Colorado and Washington, and they claim to have been caught by surprise, caught on their heels, according to this. But now they've had 2 years to prepare for another round of legalization, and we went 3 for 3. They completely struck out in all 3 places, Oregon, Alaska, and Washington, D.C., in halting the spread of marijuana legalization. And increasingly, every argument they thought that was a big winner argument has come to extinction now in the public's mind, thanks to the internet, thanks to people like Dr. Sanjay Gupta coming out and so forth. Originally, it was that medical marijuana was all faking. It was all just fake. Medical marijuana is a fake. It's not FDA approved. We haven't had any real studies on this. No real double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trials on this stuff. And then, of course, the Sanjay Gupta thing came out with medical CBD. People saw with their own damn 2 eyes a little girl who'd been seizing 100 times a day going to being a regular, playful, smiling little girl. And while some people complained it was a lot of tugging at heartstrings and ignored the plight of people that need THC, who maybe aren't as visibly sick as a little girl with seizures, it still had the earth-shattering effect of destroying that myth about medical marijuana, that it had nothing, that it was not medical in any way. Nobody believes that anymore. No one's buying that anymore. It used to be also, Kevin would pivot to, why would we need a third legal drug? Why should there be a third legal drug? We have enough trouble with alcohol. We have enough trouble with tobacco. But then people increasingly realize that marijuana is far safer than those other 2 things. And rather than adding a third legal drug, we're just recognizing that the third most popular drug is the safest one. It ought to be legal, and that people ought to have an alternative, another choice besides the 2 worst possible drugs for you. So that talking point has had to go out the window. And for a long time, Kevin Sabet would make the claims about the edibles and big marijuana. It's all about big marijuana marketing to your children. And of course, those kind of claims blew up in everyone's face when, after numerous reports of the Denver police warning parents about the marijuana-laced Halloween candy that we'd somehow give out for $10 or $15 a Chiba Chew, and instead a 2-cent Tootsie Roll would do just as well. For some reason, we were going to go bankrupt, poisoning the kids with the marijuana-laced Halloween edibles. And of course, not once did this happen throughout Halloweens all across the country, even in the medical states, even in the legal states. So now, Kevin has kind of positioned himself on this last pivot. And this last pivot is that the people behind legalization don't have the best of intentions. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. Here's the quote from his latest presentation. Quote, "Legalization is about one thing. It's not about medicine. It's not about getting people out of jail. It's not about ending the war on drugs. It's not even about allowing adults to use a little bit of marijuana in the privacy of their own home. It is about one thing, and that thing is money." End quote. Now, I could quote some people in marijuana law reform who behind the scenes told me we are blessed to have enemies like this. And good luck on trying to get the American public terrified of an industry that might make money and create jobs. Good luck with that. But to me, what I see in this statement is almost a statement of retreat, a statement of giving up, that he's no longer going to argue that it's not about medicine because everybody recognizes it is medicine. And people do recognize it's about getting people out of jail and ending the war on drugs and allowing adults to use a little bit of marijuana in the privacy of their own home. So Kevin has to deflect all of these things that even now he has to admit are true and pin it on the intent or the ulterior motives, not the veracity of whether or not those things are true or not, whether or not marijuana is medicine or putting people in jail is wrong or adults should be able to use in the privacy of their home. That's not even up for discussion anymore. It's whether or not the people pushing legalization have that as their best intention. Or are they really just using that to make a whole bunch of money? And hey, I hope they are, because I'd like to see a whole bunch of that money flow this way. Let's have a industry in America that creates something, creates jobs, enhances our tax revenue, and indirectly helps to reduce our carbon emissions. Less growing indoors, more growing outdoors, more pot plants sucking in CO2. And don't even get started on industrial hemp and how much that's going to help our environment and our economy. So yeah, Kevin, pivot to the big bad economic monster that's being created. That'll go far. Hey folks, that's all the time we got for hour one, but stay tuned. Hour two is next. Toker Talk Radio. We take your calls and suggestions on our chat room and at 971-533-7111. For everyone here at the Russ Belville Show, I'm Radical Russ. Until next time, take care of each other, Tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it,